What's up, everybody? This is Lance. I'm the host for the Health and Real Estate Podcast, and I am just freaking stoked today for my guest. I have my boy, my brother, my dog, Kyle Cassidy.
Let's go.
Yes, so excited for this one. We met about, I think, 2 years ago at an ice bath on the beach at 6:30 a.m. And it was like towards the end of winter.
Yeah.
So it was my first ice bath.
Yeah.
And I was super excited. I was super nervous. I was like, who are these people that are going to show up at 6:30 a.m. in the winter on the beach jumping in ice? And it was some of the best people I met. So that is how we met.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you want to go into that a little more and just tell your background and your story.
Totally.
So pumped.
Dude, thank you first and foremost for having me. Lance, you and I share an enthusiasm for life, and I remember that vividly when you showed up, 6:30 a.m. You and I have that energy in the morning, in the midday, and in the evening. So to have you show up as a stranger, but I already felt this connection because of that enthusiasm that you had. House of Clarity, big shout out.
Yes.
It was just a group of us, during COVID. Everything was shut down. There was a curfew. It was a very weird time in Los Angeles. And so we as friends wanted to meet up and find ways that we could connect and get away from all the noise. And so two friends, Ariana and Natasha, started the House of Clarity.
Big
which
shout
was just, out. Love y'all. A cold plunge community where we would meet at the beach and we'd bring a horse trough. And we would all carry it down to the beach. We would fill it with the ocean water, and that thing's heavy. We needed like 8 bodies to bring it back. And everybody there, the way that we would chip in is everybody brings, 10 to 20 pounds of ice. And you, Lance, show up. And I just remember seeing you and just seeing your enthusiasm and being like, I'm going to connect with this dude. I'm so stoked to have a brother that loves life and is as crazy as I am and wants to jump into freezing cold water in the morning. But yeah, to just like kind of rewind a little bit, health and wellness has been a big part of my life since I was as young as I can remember. My dad was like my biggest coach when it comes to like getting into the gym, pushing yourself. My mom and dad, they originally started dating in the gym, and so they've always had a relationship based on health and wellness, eating real food and moving your body and just feeling good. And so I played sports my whole life. And when I was in San Diego, I was going to performing arts school, and I stumbled across a yoga studio. And I just remember always thinking yoga was for cheerleaders. And then I took a yoga class just randomly. I truly believe God brought me into the yoga practice to go inward and kind of strip through the egoic layers that I had as a young man growing up, thinking that, the world revolved around me. And you do a yoga class and you're confronted with so much, not only physically, but mentally. And I was just blown away. I had a beautiful teacher who was so grounded in her practice and so grounded not only in the physicality of yoga, but in the spirituality and in the mentality of presence. And so that was 10 years ago. I did my yoga teacher training, and it catapulted me into this beautiful journey of self-discovery and self-mastery and then leadership. And I was teaching, 20, 30 classes a week, and it was such a fun time for me to see how to lead by example. And before I would go in front of a class of 30 to 50 people, I wanted to make sure that I had done my practice that day and I had been sharpening my steel so that I felt a type of presence and a type of authority that is necessary when you're leading people. And then you fast forward to me coming to LA and being around so many like-minded individuals who not only practice health and wellness, but embody it and live it on a daily basis. This is the mecca of health and wellness. So it was such a beautiful time for me to, get into personal training and get into nutrition and really help craft and mold who I am as a leader in the health and wellness field. And it was awesome. COVID, I think, yes, it was horrible, but it was also such a beautiful opportunity for me, myself, to understand if you want to create something and you want something, it's right there for you to create. And so I was in kind of a place of lack in the beginning of COVID. I was in a place of fear, and I just felt this overwhelming presence of God telling me, like, if you want to be the change, you got to be it. Like you have to be courageous. We were told socially distance, don't go near people. And it was a beautiful time for us to be like, no, I do know that we need each other. I know that we need to be healthy. A lot of what they're telling us is healthy.
There's not.
Isn't.
No.
And so, big shout out to Ariana and Natasha for starting that. But also I was starting to do a lot of things with different friends and even on my own and just building community from the ground up, starting from an idea and then just doing it. And so it was fun to start those mornings and be consistent with it. And that led towards the Healthy House, which was such an opportunity of community building. Big shout out to Mike and Steve, two of my brothers. And we just had the idea of like, we love having people congregate around health. So what's the number one thing that's going to build health? It's what we put into our bodies. So we started that plant-based potluck, and that was right around the time
every single Monday
that we met.
Yes.
And you being a vegan and you being as passionate about your health and what you put into your body, it was very they coincide. So physical health by how you move your body and the way that you have the repetition and the routine, that was very much needed in our community. And I think it was such a great spot for people to meet like-minded individuals. And I know I talk to so many people all the time of those weekly potlucks. For 2 years, we were doing it every Monday. It was such an opportunity.
Stable for the community.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was also great for us as leaders to understand that it's not always about showing up when you want to.
There were consistently show up every Monday. You're like, crap, we're having 40, 50 people over today. You might not feel like it.
Right.
But that consistency, that discipline.
Yep. You still show up even on the days where you don't want to. And it led to, I think, a kind of a foundation for me personally of I really take pride in creating safe containers, whether it was a yoga class in my early 20s to hosting 60 people at my house and helping them to feel welcomed. I come from a big family, and so to be able to create an environment of safety and of welcoming and of also just empowerment of when people feel like they can shine their light and they don't have to kind of be afraid. You see the best in people come out, and then kind of passing that torch along to others to really promote family and promote camaraderie and promote community. It was such a beautiful time in, I think, Los Angeles on the west side of people really knew of what that was. And so many people came to those with just really no expectation other than what the heck are these three dudes doing and why is this even happening? And so I look at COVID as this time of fear and seclusion to a time of an explosive movement of health, wellness, and community that still has ripples to this day. And it led to, a business of creating a cold plunge community on the west side, and really helped me to understand, wow, I love hosting people. I love, the family that I came from, and now I'm a father, I'm a husband. It's all these little things that you maybe don't think are going to lead to bigger things. Just not always looking at the destination, but really understanding that the journey is such an important part of it, and realizing that the people around you in your community, they depend on you, whether they say it or not, and to really take pride in the fact that you have something to share with your community. And the more that you sharpen your steel, the better you are at leading and hosting and all of that.
Yeah, those Monday night potlucks were probably, I look forward to Mondays out of all the days out of the week. Weekends, I don't really drink or party. Weekends are whatever for me. But I've always looked forward to the Monday night potlucks. And, most people don't, they get the Monday blues. They start work or whatever. But you guys curated and crafted literally some of the most best times of my life.
Wow.
And I met all the coolest, nicest, heartwarming people. And so thank you all for creating the Healthy House and the Monday night potlucks.
Of course.
Literally so many friendships birthed from that, and just so many awesome memories and experiences.
Totally. It's like a lifetime lived in the year that we were in that house. And really it stemmed even before we moved into the house. But big shout out to Mike and Steve and just the people that helped, even Clarissa. She was the mama of the house.
Yep.
But none of that happens without the community. And I think that's what leadership has taught me too, is it's you have to kind of create the container, but if there's nobody to be within the container, it doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really becoming selfless in the fact that, yes, we have a large task in front of us, but it was always before the hosting where you have kind of the, oh man, I'm tired or this or that. And then everybody's within the container and you're filled with life. So it's always like, welcome in the doubt, welcome in the fear. It's natural.
Yep.
And as you're stepping into more responsibility, you're going to get that more. But as you take on more, you realize you're capable of more. And that's what that chapter of my life taught me, is like, I want to take on more. I want to lead more. I want to be able to provide more. And it only gave me more opportunity to do so.
Absolutely. I love it. And I think that's why we really connected.
Yeah. Because
you, Michael, Steven, you guys were all community leaders, bringing community together, all the events.
Yeah.
And I jived with that because with Vegan Realty, we did a ton of community events.
Yeah.
So I know like all the work behind the scenes that no one sees, like preparing for those events. And that's the not fun part, right? That's the part where you're having those doubts and you don't feel like doing it. But when it all comes together, it's the time of the event, people start showing up, you're making memories, laughing, connecting.
Totally.
That makes it all worth it and is just, nothing beats that.
It's similar to entrepreneurship, right?
It is.
Community building. It's everybody looks at it and it's so sexy on the outside and you're like, yeah, I want to build community, or I want to step into entrepreneurship. And a lot of the behind the scenes stuff is the day in and day out embodiment of what it means to be a leader when nobody's watching. How do you act? When there's not a bunch of people within the container, how are you preparing? What things are you doing to make sure that you are an embodiment of what you're preaching? And that's what I think helped create the community that we created, was we were practicing these things behind closed doors. And that's a lot of what I do now as a coach and as a mentor and as a guide, is like helping equip people with the tools that they may already have, but they might not be practicing day in and day out when nobody's watching. So helping people understand that it looks sexy on the outside, but there is so much that goes into community building, entrepreneurship, fatherhood, being a husband, that isn't as pretty, and is sticky and is difficult. But to me, it's like I said, when you take on more responsibility, you realize how strong you actually are. You're gonna become a version of yourself that is necessary in order to be a magnet. As you become a leader and as you embody those traits, you'll be surprised at how many opportunities and how many people will only help to come and support your vision, which was very similar to like the journey with Ice Pass and creating that community. It was such an awesome journey that led to so many wonderful relationships, but it was also an opportunity for me to see that like you need to go into something with a foundation and a understanding of why you're doing it. And it was apparent to me that like the reason I started that was to be of service and to create community and to empower others towards leadership and community building. And it's helped me to kind of move into the next chapter with such enthusiasm to understand that it's so important to understand your why and stay true to that, because it's very easy as success comes and as you start to grow for things to move in other directions.
Absolutely. Yes, there's so much I want to get into, new entrepreneurship. But before we do that, you are a new father.
Yes, sir.
I want to hear about fatherhood. And being a husband.
Yeah.
So what has being a father and a husband, like what has that been like? What lessons have you learned?
Wow. Yeah, it has been the most difficult and also most rewarding thing I've ever done. So first and foremost, you can't be a father without being a husband, or at least being in partnership. And so big shout out to Clarissa, Cassidy, my wife. She's my other half. You know, we've become one flesh, and she is such a caring, nurturing, loving partner, and she's someone who pours into me so much behind the scenes. And having grown up in an environment where she didn't have a ton of the same kind of family culture that I had, to be able to bring her into my family and her see that environment, I think it really planted a seed in her to desire that. And when we first started dating, those were the kind of the conversations that we had, because I had been in the dating culture in LA and I stepped away from it because it was very skin deep, very superficial, and I really was yearning for a wife and someone who I could build a family with, because it's what I came from. And so to have those conversations with her straight out of the gate, like we didn't waste any time, it was really refreshing to see that she was ready for something like that, having not come from that. And so to then see how the relationship that I had with my family helped her to kind of remend a lot of relationships in her own family that were needing that. And then for us to really build on a foundation of God and of prayer and of like looking towards the 30-year plan rather than what are we doing next month. And just to be open in our communication, and for her to be as supportive as I needed, giving so much to the community and doing so much with so many different people. She was like my rock that just poured into me and helped me to feel the love that I think a man needs to feel in order to do all of that.
Yeah.
And so we've been together 3 years. Actually, December 5th will be our 3-year anniversary.
Really? That's awesome.
I know our date. And yeah, I think it has helped me to realize how much it means to do what you say and like follow through and just the romance that a woman needs, like doing the little things, doing the dishes. While she was pregnant, like she's doing so much that I can't see. She's literally growing our son.
Yes.
And I felt this calling to be more, to do more without being asked. Hey babe, looks like you're going through it, and let me massage you. Let me cook you dinner. Let me what can I do? Like asking and doing was a big part of like that process. And then the birthing process is one of the most beautiful, epic things I've ever been a part of. So just to be able to be witness to a woman and the glory of her being able to create life in her body, to be able to bring that life into this world, and just so grateful that our son is healthy, first and foremost. I know so many people personally that have gone through tragedy in that. And so, you know, my faith is such a bedrock in our relationship, but also in the knowing that some things are out of our control. So just, we prayed so much that we were going to be able to create an environment for him to feel supported and loved. And we both have positives in our upbringing in the family, and we both have negatives. But I think it's our job and really our duty to either break cycles or repeat cycles. And so the transparency that's needed in partnership and in marriage help you to be aware of these cycles and these inner conflicts and these inner traumas that can take shape in times of stress, in times of lack, in times of doubt and fear and insecurity. And so all of that comes forward in a relationship. And I've been so grateful to have the wisdom and the discernment to be able to be the leader as the man in the family and to kind of take that on. And fatherhood has really been this journey of like discovery within my own self of how strong and capable I am and how much I am fulfilled in those sleepless nights. I'm getting woken up at 1 a.m. Baby boy needs a diaper change. He's hungry. You originally are woken up and you have this like, and then I just look at him and I'm like, oh, wow, there's nothing more that I'd want. And it just, it's hard to describe in words, but it is the most fulfilling thing I've ever done. Again, hardest thing I've ever done, but to just see the life in him, to see him smile, to see him, and the relationship that he and my wife have, and the way that he's dependent on me. She's dependent on me, but I'm dependent on him. I'm dependent on her. She's dependent on him. And me, it's like this union and this oneness that is, I truly believe, God's most precious design. And it's given me more fuel and more fire towards what the future holds than ever before. And I'm so excited to have more kids. And also to just pour into Lucas, my son, and to pour into my wife, and her pour into him and me, and eventually him Right now he's goo goo gaga and he's not really pouring into us, but just his life and what that brings to the community. Because at the center of community is family. So a lot of my yearning to create community and to create this ecosystem of life stems from that. So it's a ton of prayers answered. It's like everything I've ever dreamt of, even as a young man. Growing up, I was the firstborn son. I have a younger brother. I have 4 sisters. I come from a family of lots of cousins, lots of aunts and uncles. And to me, that's like a little glimpse of heaven. So to now be able to create that and to be an example to younger generation of what life's really all about. A lot of young men, they ask me questions, and I feel this kind of like this torch that I get to pass on. And that's to me what life truly is all about. So I'm excited to see all of the lessons that it's going to continue to teach me and all of the opportunities it's going to give me to lead other young men and other young women towards what I believe life truly is all about. It's partnership, it's marriage, it's family. And it leads towards a greater glimpse into the future, because I get visions now, not of what I'm doing next month, but what I'm building for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from now. So it's got me juiced up. It's got me fired up. I'm excited to run hills with Lucas. If you're watching this, bud, I'm excited to push you. And he's already gripping onto things. And he's like this little unit. He comes from me. So he's going to be ripped. He's going to be a fire. And he's got his mom's personality, which is for better or worse. But
yeah, he's a cute little baby. He's just always so happy and smiling.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's adorable.
Really incredible. And it brings the families together. Before, when we just got married, like it was still, we were becoming one, but there's something about a baby that just brings the families even closer together. And now we really are one unit. And it's got me excited. The future is bright, and I'm just really stoked to see how we continue to grow as individuals and a collective.
Definitely. I love that. Thank you for sharing all that. And, family really is the foundation to a lot of things. I've kind of not strayed away, but, in your 20s, you kind of more individual, figuring it out on your own. But once you get a little older in your 30s, you realize like family is so important.
Totally.
I moved away a few years ago. I'm a big mama's boy, so I really miss my mama. So that's why I'm going back to St. Louis, see her. But family's everything.
Totally.
Yeah. So thank you for reiterating that. And definitely. So now let's talk a little bit about some entrepreneurship, some partners with entrepreneurship, and kind of, I know you do coaching, corporate wellness, retreats, and we did one together. So we'll get to that. But where do you want to start with entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I would have to say big shout out to Joel Brown and a coaching program that he put me through. I was in a time where I was really wanting a mentor. And this was at the time where we were starting the Healthy House, and I had been a coach in my own right as a teacher and a guide from a health and wellness standpoint. But I wanted to kind of delve into life and how can I help craft, especially young men. Like I work with women as well, but I really am passionate about working with men because I am a man and I can relate in a lot of ways. So Joel put me through this coaching program that was very spiritually based. He is a follower of Christ like I am. And I feel like Jesus was the best coach there ever was. He helped us realize, like, why are we really here? Like, to be servants and to serve others selflessly and to really hone in on a discernment that helps be a mirror. And how can you, from like a corporate standpoint or from an executive standpoint, these people, they carry themselves with such an excellence, which is important. You can't be a CEO. You can't lead in a way that others follow without that. But if you don't have a yearning to be not discipled, I wouldn't say, but to be, from an outside looking in, judged is the wrong word, but critiqued, analyzed. If you're not asking for constructive criticism, you'll never become the best version of yourself. So for me as a coach, his program helped me to see that we all need mentors. We all need someone who's going to observe everything that we're doing, and we have to ask those questions of how can I be better? What are ways that I'm missing the mark? And so the coaching program helped me to step into that with him, asking him these difficult questions. Nobody wants to be told what they're doing wrong. And it really helped me to realize, like, wow, I do a lot of things great, but there's a lot of things that I have to improve on. And as a young man with a pride and an ego and all these things where I want to be the best, it was a great opportunity for me to humble myself and really get back to work as a student, which helped me tremendously as a husband, as a father, and as a leader. And it helped me to build a curriculum around what helped start IcePass and what has really helped me in my work now, which is people will approach me asking about the type of energy and enthusiasm and aura that I emit, and they want to bring that into their workplace or into their field or into their community. So it's a culture coaching, and it is how can you become an embodiment of what you want to create. And you don't have to talk. When people see you and they feel you, they know you.
Yep.
And then you're able to emulate that through your environment, through your staff, through your partnerships. And so I think just to touch briefly on my journey with IcePass, it was a 2-year journey of a partnership that started in a realm of vision. And then as success came, things started to kind of move in separate directions. Mm-hmm. And that's not a bad thing or a good thing, but it taught me a lot about transparency, honesty, and embodiment. Mm-hmm. And so it was a beautiful opportunity for me to see that I am capable of creating abundance. Like, we grew exponentially. We impacted so many people. We were able to do events, and I was able to see the type of impact that I can have in those type of environments, like a same but different. We did Coachella and Stagecoach. We did a ton of corporate wellness events, and it kind of showed me, like, wow, I have this magnetic ability to bring people in and impact them in ways where they leave with this similar enthusiasm that I have. And I think all of us have that enthusiasm. To me, it's our spirit. And so it planted a seed in me that I am so capable of creating and impacting in ways that are going to change the world. And so now with the Fearless Shepherds and with a lot of what we're doing at a like a corporate and a coaching aspect, it has shown me that I want to be a vessel of change in people's hearts as to what they are spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally. And so whether I'm working one-on-one with clients or I'm working in a group setting, my goal is to positively impact you in a way that you leave with this enthusiasm and with this courage to be a leader. And what does that mean? We dive into what that really means. And I've crafted a curriculum that, whether it's one person or a group, I can really plant a seed that will blossom and flourish for generations. I hope to create leaders that will positively impact a community or even just a family to where it's going to positively impact the world for generations to come. And so I'm excited to see where things like what you're doing with Vegan Realty and what I'm doing, there's a lot of overlap. And you're a leader in your field, and we've had ideas of ways that we can bring some of the masterminds and some of the retreats. We just got back from Utah. We did a retreat with 60 life insurance agents, and it's so much more than sales. Like sales is the bedrock of, yes, we need to make money, we need to provide for our families, but who are you when nobody's watching? What are your daily habits? And so that's where I really have equipped myself to help you sharpen your steel in ways that when you leave that mastermind or when you leave that environment, nothing changes. You're actually a new version of yourself that will always be that. And whenever you feel like your light is dimming, you have someone to come back to. I'm never changing. I will always be Kyle Cassidy, and I'm always surrounding myself with people like Joel so that when my light dims, I'm able to be sharpened. And I think that was the biggest thing that had me walk away from the last opportunity I was in, is if you're not around people who are consistently pushing you to be the best version of yourself, if you're not around excellence at all times, your light starts to dim a bit. Or you can start to have resentment towards the path because you feel almost as though there's an anchor. And I won't go too deep into that, but I do feel as though everything happens for a divine purpose. And you have to understand that if you are slowing your path and you're trying too hard to save and you're not pushing towards moving forth, your time here is limited and you're only holding yourself back from impacting the people that you need to impact. And so entrepreneurship and what I'm in now, it's this constant evolution of self-discovery and self-mastery. And it's not about the destination, because my whole life I'm constantly going to be improving and getting better, but celebrating the struggle just as much as the success. I think that's what it's taught me. And I'm just really, really humbled and really honored and really grateful to be a part of Fearless Shepherds Financial. And the Fearless Shepherds movement is so much about this relationship with self, relationship with God, and improvement on a 1% better each day.
Absolutely.
Type of lifestyle.
Yeah, I love it. And I could personally vouch for any event that you have been a part of that I went to. I personally left that event lit up, on fire. I met some of usually the coolest people. I always meet one or two people where you actually have like a deep relationship. So like just the people that you attract to any events that you're a part of are my type of people.
Yeah.
And so I'm always lit up leaving some of your events that I just come as like, as an attendee.
Right.
But then I was also a part of one of your events. I got to help, be a part of the team. Facilitate.
You were the maestro back there, dude.
That was so fun. That was an
Yeah.
amazing experience. We did, if you want to tell them what we did at Same But Different.
Shout out Same But Different.
Yes. Yeah, we created it wasn't just a sauna and cold plunge contrast therapy, but it was a whole curated like experience for the people.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to talk about that experience at all.
It was like everything I've ever imagined. When we first started Ice Pass, it was like in the living room, right? It was this welcoming, and it was this environment of impact and change that would forever lead into the way that you carried yourself. So Same But Different is a wellness music festival in Lake Paris, and I've been the last 4 years, and it changed my life. It was such a glimpse into what's possible when you have people come together collaboratively, with enthusiasm, with a vision towards impacting people and just like cradling, loving people exactly where they are, but also pushing them past fear and discomfort and that little bit of, can I be a musician? Can I be a health and wellness expert? Can I be like it has to start somewhere. And so it was the second year that I had brought, the experience, but it was the first year that I had done it in the way that I wanted to. And just shout out to the team first and foremost. Like we brought 8 individuals, yourself included, that really galvanized around the vision that I had and ran with it in ways that I couldn't have even imagined. Big shout out to our partners, Plunge and Sweat Tent. Couldn't have done it without them. The party plunge is great because you could have 8 people plunging at the same time. And then the new XL Sweat Tent is incredible because you can fit 10 people into the sauna, and it's a wood burning stove. So you get the crackling of the wood. And what I really wanted to do was create an environment of fun and also education. So each of us had a key part to play, from the welcoming at the front to the hose down and getting people clean, because cleanliness is next to godliness. And as you can only imagine, if you're getting into a cold plunge, it's very important that you're clean at a festival. And we just put so much time and energy into meeting before anyone arrived, early in the morning after a late night of dancing. And we wanted to make sure that we were prepared as a team. And this is some of the little stuff that nobody saw, but making sure that our environment was clean, making sure that our environment was meticulously put together so that there was never a moment where somebody thought, what the hell is going on? Like people really felt cradled. They didn't have to think. They were
just guiding them
guided
through step by step, but yeah.
totally. And it, like that's what I take a lot of pride in is realizing that as a leader and as someone who's curating anything you do is just like everything you do. So if you're skipping little points or moments that you think don't matter, it's gonna leave a lasting, memory on their entire experience. So the beginning, the middle, and the end, the integration, the talking to people one-on-one and really connecting with them rather than, okay, who's next? It's like each group felt like they were the most important group because they really were.
Yeah.
And so we helped thousands of people that weekend. And I still get reached out to by people who put the festival on of like, yo, y'all put such time and energy into creating such an experience that we still get emails. We still get reached out to. People's lives really were changed.
Yes.
And not only the people who experienced it, but us as the facilitators. That was the whole goal. And that's really like this aspect of fearlessness and shepherdhood. You have to be fearless in knowing that you need to be present and an embodiment of exactly who you are. And I loved how all of us had our own energy, but it was cohesive.
Yes.
And then to shepherd and to lead and to guide and to help people feel safe and empowered. That weekend was a glimpse of heaven. Like it was such a beautiful moment for me to kind of pass the torch to each of you and to lead by example. I think all of you came to that festival because you saw me as someone who you wanted to follow in that sense. But then to step back and look around and see everybody leading in the ways that they were, it was like such a proud moment, almost like how I'll look at my son, but then also like this like empowered moment of when I was feeling a little energetically drained, I could see each of you going above and beyond, and it reignited my flame. And to me, that's such an important piece of entrepreneurship and building a company or building a community. Like you are as strong as your weakest link. We didn't have any weak links.
Nope.
And anytime one of us was kind of needing that little boost, we were a cohesive unit, so we could pull each other up and help each other in that way. And that was such a fun weekend of really showcasing, first of all, how important health and wellness is.
Yep.
Because contrast therapy, it is an elixir. You could be out until 4 a.m. None of us were doing any crazy things, but a lot of the people who were coming in, they were depleted and they needed rejuvenation. And so to be able to put them through that, and then big shout out to Mike bringing the electrolytes and Chucky and all the boys bringing in the nutrition, and to educate people on the fact that, hey, we're in 90-degree heat in the desert. You're dehydrated. Let's get you some electrolytes. Let's get you some fruit. Let's get you some contrast therapy. And afterwards to see people just lit up, not only physically, but spiritually. It was, it's exactly why I'm so passionate about what we do in regards to corporate wellness and helping people in that field understand that their physical, mental, and spiritual well-being is why they will be better in their personal and in their business and all of that. It was so fun. What stood out to you as somebody who brought that fire and that energy?
I loved that whole experience. I was so grateful to be a part of that team.
Yeah.
Literally, it was the dream team.
So good.
Everyone stepped up into their own like form of leadership.
Yeah.
And for me, it was so fun. It was also fulfilling.
Yeah.
And very empowering. But some of my favorite things was I was facilitating the actual what's it called? The party plunge?
Party plunge.
The party plunge, where you can get up to 8 people at once in there. So one thing that I really enjoyed is because if a lot of people, it was their first time doing the cold plunge, and there's a lot of resistance, a lot of fear, a lot of hesitation, a lot of self-doubt.
Yep.
But to get those people to get in there, and then the first, 20, 30 seconds of doing it, your body's in fight or flight. It's like, what the hell am I doing? I got to get out of here. But to see people push past that, and they have mental breakthroughs, I saw hundreds and hundreds of that. And I'm just like, wow. Like it was just so empowering to see that and help facilitate those breakthroughs. That was really amazing. And then also with the health aspect, you see people, they're partying all night, dancing all night, dehydrated. They before they do the contrast therapy, they're looking rough, looking like zombies. And then after their whole experience with us, they are lit up. They come back to life.
Yeah.
And they are just getting high on their own supply.
Totally. That was the goal. And I think we far exceeded that. And yeah, that's the kind of the potency of contrast therapy and really curating an environment that is palpable, that people can relate to, because all of us have that in us. And so to just be a conduit and to be a facilitator towards people's spirit and to see it come out of them, I don't think there's anything better.
No, it was so fun.
I love that.
It was it was a long, hard week, but it was very fun, very rewarding.
Yeah.
And another thing is, we would finish like 2 or 3, and then we had the rest of the day to enjoy the music festival, the rest of the day and night. But what was super cool is like throughout the festival, I would have so many people come up to me. They're like, "Oh, you were the party plunge people. You were the hot and cold." They're like, "That was one of the best things about the music festival."
Totally.
And everyone would just rave about that. And then to connect with them more one-on-one after that experience was very rewarding and fun.
Community building 101 right there is if you can positively impact someone, they will remember you forever.
Yes.
And then you can build relationships stemmed off of like genuinity and like a realness that so many times in LA and in big cities, it's very transactional, where we were truly serving selflessly. And we wanted people to feel what it felt like to be in a family. We wanted people to feel what it felt like to be lit on fire and like brought back to life and sent on their way. And some of their friends were still sleeping in the camp, and they would go and tell them like, tomorrow you need to come because this is going to change. And more people would come. The last day we had a line.
Oh, it was
from
crazy.
8 a.m. until 2 p.m. 100 people waiting for the experience. And they were happy because they knew when it was their time, they were going to get poured into. And that's really what I had prayed would be felt by the team. And I truly believe it was we have a responsibility and also like a blessing and an opportunity to not only impact others, but embody what it means to be a leader. And that's why I brought the 8 people, is because each of you individually I have a relationship with where I know who you are to the core. And that's what this entrepreneurship journey has taught me, is who you surround yourself with and who you go to battle with, quote unquote, is going to be a direct representation of the longevity of the journey. And so I just felt so grateful to go to battle with y'all, quote unquote, and to come out the other side victorious.
Yeah, it was amazing. How many people ended up going through it through the whole weekend? Was it?
I think it was close to 2,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
That was amazing. Had 2 XL sweat tents, which can fit a total of 20 people at a time, and 2 party plunges and 2 individual plunges. No, we had 1 party plunge.
1 party plunge.
So that's 8 and 2 individuals. So like 12. So to think numbers wise, you crunch those numbers, that's a lot of people.
It was a lot.
Big shout out to our sponsors. Yes. Big shout out to the equipment. Couldn't have done it without those party plunges, those chillers, top tier to stay keeping that water cold, and just the whole same but different team. Poise Wellness. They were amazing. Bringing us ice. It was just, it's so cool because it's such a collaborative environment where people are truly working together towards the common goal of let's just celebrate life. Let's celebrate health. Let's celebrate art. And that festival 4 years ago was a real catalyst towards me first meeting Michael and coming back here and saying, how do we create that environment here in Los Angeles? And how do we create that environment that ripples out into the United States, into the world of like, hey, we don't have to wait until a festival to live collaboratively and live enthusiastically. Like, how do we bring that back to our day in and day out life? And I think we did a great job of that with the Healthy House and with what we're doing now. And I try to bring that into, what I'm doing now in the insurance realm. And just like, if you're waking up in the morning and just like, and you're going through your day lackluster and just without enthusiasm, you're already dead.
Yep.
Like most people, they're already in the grave. And it's like, we have a short time here on this planet. And how are you living so that it's a contagiousness that's not a sickness, but it's actually life? And so I think we all have that within us. And it was cool to see us do that and bring that back into our day in and day out.
Yes. So I kind of want to talk about some of the culture that you're building around, like corporate culture and some corporate like retreats that you're
Yeah.
doing. Cause I, knowing what I know from what you curated with Same but Different at the music festival, but now you're kind of doing it in the corporate sales world.
Yeah.
So I wasn't there physically, but I've watched it on Instagram and all the replays, and I got FOMO. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, this looks amazing
Yeah.
because I'm also in sales. It's real estate's 100% commission based.
Right.
So a lot of it is like lead generation, lead follow up, and that is tough to do by yourself, like one on one. You don't have a lot of motivation, but you guys created a lock in where your team like all got together, locked in, focused, but then you incorporated the hot, the cold, the health, the wellness, the spirituality.
Yeah.
So could you tell us more about that? And definitely want to come to the next one.
Totally. I'm excited for us to build in regards to collaboration. But so just recently, I've been in the business now 2 months, and financial services at large is an industry that I never really was educated on, didn't know much about. Life insurance, building trusts, building estates, all these different things that very few people know about, and I think there's a reason.
Yeah.
It is a industry that has created more millionaires than any other industry, and it can do that very quickly. And I had seen my brother Troy, big shout out, freaking dog. He has been doing this for 2 years now, and he's been very successful. And he started in this industry because one of his closest friends, Devin, big shout out, was brought into the industry because he played college football. And in the college football realm, you have this camaraderie and you have this excellence and you have this like drive that is hard to find in very many work environments. Bowen, big shout out to he runs a agency called Never Settle. He is contracted through a company called Family First Life, one of the, I think, the biggest contractors of life insurance in the country. And he's been at it for probably 3 or 4 years and has built an empire. And the industry at large is kind of like network marketing. You bring people in, you teach them how to sell, you teach them how to create lead gen and all these other things. And it's not rocket science. You are helping people to protect their assets and protect their families if something happens to them, right? And so there's carriers who have been around for 200 years, and really what their main goal is heaven forbid something happens to the breadwinner in the family or somebody who has assets or homes or things that you want to protect and keep in the family. What we do is help people have peace of mind knowing that their assets are protected, their families are protected, and it's something that everyone needs. Now, the whole goal of sales is helping people to break that wall down and realize that you're actually there to serve them. Bowen, Devin, Troy, now their right hand, Shay and Stoops, they've built this team very similar to college football that is about camaraderie. It is about family. It is about really entrusting the person next to you. Like in a football game, if your dude next to you fails, they're running 99 yards for a touchdown. It's the same thing. If your team is slacking in the day in and day out things that need to be done in order for you to have a culture that is successful, those lock-ins are a great way for people to experience it real time. And so all of them lead by example. You can see it in the way that they carry themselves. You can see it in their production. You know, they're writing $40, $50, $60, $70, $80,000 in a month. And you're like, how are you doing this? And you get to see it firsthand. Oh, well, I'm waking up at 4:30 a.m. I'm going to the gym. I'm in my Bible. I'm pouring into my family. I'm doing these things before the workday even starts. And so we had 60 agents in the biggest Airbnb in the country in Utah. And we're waking up at 5 a.m. We're working out together. We're cold plunging in the morning. We're getting all the hardest things done before the sun even comes up. And so as you start to empower people towards, oh, wow, this is possible. I'm no different than you. I have that voice in my head that wants to stay comfortable and cozy in bed, but you don't press snooze. Oh, I want to eat the donut in the morning, but I fast. It's like all these little things that stack towards huge victories before your workday.
Effect.
So that if you get hung up on, or you get told to go F yourself, or all these things that will happen in sales or will happen in any field of entrepreneurship, you take it on the chin. You're just like, I want more. I'm ready for more. And so it was really fun. Troy had come to meet my son, and I was going through a transition from starting the endeavor that I started and wanting to do something different for a lot of different reasons. And he shared with me, listen, I'm building an empire and I have a vision of you being a part of it. And he had seen what I had been building, and I was someone who believed in me from the get-go and wanted me to bring my expertise, but also share with me kind of the expertise that he had built with his team. And the union was divine. It was divine timing. It was really a godsend. And to be able to bring, the partners that I have and the expertise that I have into the environment that they've created, it was a match made in heaven. And so we're going to be doing these lock-ins on a monthly basis. And it's for anyone, not only in the insurance industry, but anyone who wants to learn what it takes to be a top-end contributor to not only your team, but yourself. Like, you can't build a family, you can't build a community until you yourself are a brick house. You have to have a foundation built that can be built on. And so it's like, I just have such an excitement towards us being able to attract 60 individuals that now are a part of a family, that are a part of a thriving team. Last month, there were millions of dollars in sales. And just at that lock-in, that lock-in, we did over $300,000 in sales in 3 days with 60 individuals who were able to learn firsthand from the top producers in the agency and in the business at large. How do you become a top-end producer? Oh, it's everything that you're doing before you clock in. And then it's how you are not only accepting defeat, but accepting success. It's like, oh, I just wrote a policy for $3,500. I can cash it in. I'm good for the day. It's like, no, up next.
Yep.
Keep going, because you're not going to get to that 1% without that mentality of there's always more and there's always more to serve, because it's not about me. In that industry, it's really cool, and I've really enjoyed it because it's so much about the person you're talking to and understanding and listening to their circumstances and having that empathetic drive to want to serve them in a way that I've been able to help families who are going through health scares. Somebody's a diabetic and they just had a cancer scare, or they just had a stroke, or there's different realities of the industry that are very scary for a lot of people. And they've dealt with salespeople who, oh, you've had a stroke, I can't help you, good luck. And what's beautiful about what we do as brokers is we work with every top-rated carrier in the country. So I might not be able to work.
There's a plan for everyone.
Totally. Yep. I might not be able to get you maybe what you had hoped for, but I will get you something that will give you the peace of mind to know that your assets are protected, your family's protected, and we're going to move forward not only as you're my client, but you're now a part of our family. Yes. And I care about you just as much as I care about my own family, because I truly believe anything you do is like everything you do. And when you embody that from a genuine point, because a lot of people can say that, but then behind closed doors, they're talking smack or they're acting out of alignment. That was why I joined the Fearless Shepherds Financial Agency, and why I feel so empowered to be a chief spirit officer. I kind of created this in the last endeavor, but like to be able to bring culture into the forefront of camaraderie and team building, it's bled into the other leaders, and I have leaders of agencies asking me questions, and then I'm able to ask questions to people who are, on a path towards kingdom building that I truly believe is taught to us in Scripture, that we're not here to be peasants. We're not here to just inch by. Like, we are here to reap so that we may steward a kingdom. And what is a kingdom? You're able to provide for and give opportunities to others in ways that, when I was growing up, we weren't really taught of wealth creation and wealth management and all of these things. And it's something that I'm even still growing into, of like knowing I'm worthy of it. And I think a lot of people, we're not afraid of what's the quote? It's, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate, it's that we are powerful beyond all measure.
Yeah.
So our deepest fear isn't that we can't do it. Our deepest fear is that we can do it. And I'm starting to, just 2 months into the business, bring in more money than I have in a long time. And I'm like, oh, wow. I get to now steward this and provide my wife with an environment where she can just pour into our children. One child now, but God willing, more in the future. And then to just create an environment for others to know that, hey, where you're at right now doesn't have to be where you're going to be in the very near future. But it's going to take work, and it's going to take failure, quote unquote. But if you don't look at it as failure, and that's the culture aspect of what we're trying to create, is entrepreneurship, being your own boss, comes with so much more than vacations when you want and working your own schedule, and it's so sexy, and oh yeah, I want to do that, I want to start my own business, and then you're punched in the gut. And you're told no 100 times, and you're not seeing the money that you expected right out of the gate, but you stay the course and you trust the process and you ask the questions and you get vulnerable. And on the other side of fear is courage, and that leads into like the book that I'm writing of how service leads to abundance. And just knowing that the people that you need are around you already. And the prayers that you're praying are already being answered. You got to take the blinders off, and you got to trust in something far greater than you. And I truly believe when you leap, it's not that the net appears, it's that your wings appear. And you take flight in ways that you never thought possible, but you have to leap. And that was really a big shout out to my brother and the team that they've built, welcoming me in, but also like passing me the torch and asking me to lead in a way that I've always led, but now I feel so grateful to be leading in a way that's positively impacting the culture we're creating, and I'm excited for what 2025 has.
Yeah, I'm super pumped. I haven't seen a culture like that, so I started following your brother and a lot of those people, and just watching the culture and the work ethic and the community and the camaraderie. That is like it's you guys are creating something special.
Thank you.
So that is amazing.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to, with the life insurance.
Yeah.
If you want to explain like what exactly is life insurance, because I just learned about it like 3-4 years ago. So there might be some listeners out there who might not really know what it is. So what is it, and then what kind of services do you all offer?
So life insurance, to just boil it down to a simple, digestible understanding, is to ensure your life. So heaven forbid you were to pass away, you can leave something behind for your family, for your loved ones, and also protect your assets that you've accumulated through your life, whether it's a home or whether it's your finances, to keep those in the family. Also, for us who are young, who don't plan on dying anytime soon, life insurance isn't just about death benefit. It's also life benefit. There are 3 policies that we work with. There is a term policy, there is a whole life policy, and there is a index universal life policy. The term policy is really mortgage protection. I just bought a house for $1 million. I took out a loan for X amount of dollars. Say I, as the breadwinner of the family, am paying on this mortgage on a monthly basis. I get hit by a truck and die. I've left this mortgage to my significant other. If they're not in a financial position to pay this mortgage, the bank will take my home and my family will be in the streets. Life insurance is a beautiful opportunity to protect your wife or husband. Heaven forbid something happens to you, you can leave behind a tax-free lump sum to your family. Say, I have money, I'm going to leave it to my family. Uncle Sam's going to take 40% of that. The reason why life insurance is so powerful and has been around through the Great Depression, world wars, it is bulletproofed because these insurance carriers utilize the stock market and other funds to be able to build their backing so that anything happens to you, you are going to be able to sleep at night knowing that, okay, this 30-year mortgage is protected with a term. Once my 30-year mortgage is up, my term has a termination date. I won't need this insurance any longer. There are certain policies where every dollar that you've paid into the term can be paid back to you after the 10, 20, or 30 years. Different policies in that regard that are very valuable for people who have a big debt. Whole life policies are guaranteed to pay out to your beneficiary. So a lot of these are for people who want to leave a nest egg or just want to leave behind something for their family, in the aspect of the fact that we are all going to die. And there's a way to not be morbid in it, but just be real. And you share with people like, a lot of people that we work with are veterans, or they're people in their 50s, 60s, 70s who are in that time of life where they're realizing like, okay, I want to get my things in order for just final expenses.
Yep.
At the end of life, there's a $10,000 to $30,000 expense that my family is going to have to take on if I'm not going to be cremated. If I want to be buried, that's not free.
Yeah,
There's an
it is
expense
expensive.
that if you're not thinking ahead is going to be left to your family. So being proactive in that and helping people to understand that it's nothing that you want to shy away from. These are conversations that need to be had if you want to leave your family in a good standing, to where in the worst time of somebody's life, when they're mourning the loss of their grandpa or their mom or anything like that, the last thing they want to do is fighting over expenses as a family of who's going to cover grandpa's funeral, who's going to cover the casket, who's going to cover the burial. Like, all of these things they're not the funnest thing to talk about, but when you can have peace of mind and know, hey, the will has been taken care of. All of grandpa's assets, all of mom's assets, we know who they're going to. And it's something where the family can just know, okay, when that day does come, we have professionals that have taken our family's, things into their own importance just as much as ours. It gives people peace of mind. So there's whole life products that can bring peace of mind towards final expense or towards protecting the equity of a home or any of that nature, and it's guaranteed to pay out. Term, it's going to expire. Whole life, guaranteed to pay out. IULs are fascinating to me because for somebody like you and I who's healthy, doesn't have any type of death near, heaven forbid, and also has assets that we want to incur interest. These types of policies you can pay into and you can cash load them to where 10, 20, 30 years down the line, we've created a bank for ourselves.
Yep.
That you can pull from tax-free. This is unheard of. And I never knew about these things, but a lot of these carriers don't want you to necessarily know about it because it's a benefit to you. And I think our school system has a long way to go in educating us on how to create wealth long term. So you're investing in your wealth down the road now. A lot of us as young men and women, we don't necessarily think about that. We're in a very consumeristic culture that's about pleasure now.
Yep.
Whereas what we're educating people in regards to life insurance is you can build a nest egg for yourself in the distant future, to where you put 100, 200, 300, 500, 1,000, if you have that type of money now, a month, and it incurs interest over time far greater than you would in a savings account. And so it's just, for me, I was able to educate myself in the industry very quickly of all these different types of products that can help build value to people's lives. And to get that feedback real time for when you bless a family with this thing, it's going to protect them, protect their generations to come, and build a nest egg that they can utilize in their life. It's really great because we have a product that can serve anyone. And so it's been fun to work through that education gap, because once you educate yourself, you realize, wow, I can be a student for life in this field, and I can continue to learn about products that now I myself have. I'm able to utilize within my own family and bless other families. It's really cool.
Yeah, I love it. When I learned about it, I thought it was just, helping protect families, which that alone is amazing to know that your family is protected once, you pass.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Life insurance, you protect your family.
Yep.
But it's also a vehicle to build wealth.
Yeah.
Because you could, the more you invest, you could borrow money against that. So it's like what do they call it? Infinite banking or something. So
Yeah.
it's like your own personal bank account that's accruing interest.
Yep.
You're paying yourself interest, and it's all tax free, right?
If you look at how the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds created their wealth, it was cash building IUL policies. And as they incurred interest upon these policies, they would create a trust, and everything is moving into the trust. If you think of a trust fund, baby, they have a family that has thought 2-3 generations ahead. So it's not rocket science, but it is about stewarding your wealth. And many people think wealth is so far up front. No, it's about storing the nest egg that you have now rather than spending it improperly. And so to me, it's so important that we educate the younger generation, because when I was in my 20s, I was spending money like a jackass. And that's okay. I learned a lot. I had a lot of fun. It is what it is. But for the younger generation now, there's this wealth of information, and there's a lot of misinformation, but there's a lot of great information that can be passed on to people who don't have to make the same mistakes and can start to build wealth now, not later, so that as you're getting into your later 20s and your early 30s and you want to start a family and you want to purchase a home and you want to do all these things, get ahead of it now. Learn how to say no to the way that the world tells you to live, and learn how to say yes to the way that you want to live. And start to ask yourself, how do I want to live? Do I want to live for pleasure now, or do I want to live for pleasure in the future? And pleasure, what does that mean to you? To me now, as a father and a husband and someone who's looking to purchase my own home and all these different things, that brings me great pleasure. Providing for my wife and my son and my family, that brings me great pleasure. So it's okay. I remember being in my late teens, early 20s, and the world has what looks like it's pleasurable, but actually brings a lot of emptiness.
Definitely.
To now be in a spot as a coach, as a father, as a husband, as a leader, and to be empowering others towards what real pleasure looks like, and with my faith and how I look at heavenly pleasure versus worldly pleasure, and how we can bring heaven here now. I have a very deep appreciation for this wisdom that I now get to, share with so many others. And really just on this podcast, we're so blessed to be in the times that we're in now, where people can listen to this and hopefully have a seed planted in them. And, you can reach out to me if you have questions about this, because I'm passionate about now sharing this information. And we live in a very beautiful time. Yes, there's a lot that needs to change, and there's a lot that we have on our plate as young men stepping into this new wave of masculinity, but I'm very excited for what the future holds.
Yes, I am super excited as well, and we're going to be talking because I need some life insurance, so you're my guy.
Let's go. Let's go.
Pumped for it.
And stoked to cross over, man, with the real estate and how you're curing an asset that you can pass on into your family. And what is a mortgage, and what is an interest rate, and all these different things that I don't think are taught in school, that I hope we can create some educational platforms for people to better understand these things, so you're not renting forever. And so you can own some things, and you can pass these things on and accrue wealth.
Generational wealth.
Yes, sir.
Yep. I love it. So is there anything else that we didn't cover that you'd like to cover before we go on to the...
I am someone who believes wholeheartedly in the Lord. So for those of you out there that are yearning to know more, I haven't shot the podcast in a while, but Fearless Shepherds is a podcast. I have 22 episodes. This has me feeling inspired to get it back going.
Love it.
But, surround yourself with people who maybe have a relationship with God. I think church, that word can be scary for people for a lot of different reasons, and I understand. But give yourself the opportunity to pray, and whatever that means to you, it's, in my opinion, a way of opening your heart to developing a relationship with God. So if you have questions on that, my Instagram handle is spiritmovement3. Reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you more. I think we live in a time right now of so much confusion and so many different paths towards enlightenment. And I think it's really important that we have a compass. And so that to me is it's why I am who I am, my relationship with Christ and my relationship with God. And that's my greatest passion, is to bring people closer to God. But then also with what we're doing with Fearless Shepherds, it is so awesome to be a part of a team that is practicing what they preach and embodying this aspect of spiritual, emotional intelligence and wellness that then correlate to a mental fortitude, a physical prowess, and to be able to bring that into what I do as a coach and as a guide. If you ever have an environment or a desire to curate something that will change your culture or impact an experience, I'm your guy. We'll bring Lance. We'll change the environment there, and that's really my goal moving into 2025 and beyond is stepping into the leader that I am, that I've crafted myself to be. I'm 31 years young. I turned 32 in January. So it's this fourth decade that I'm moving into, which is crazy to think, right? 0 to 10 is first decade. 10 to 20, second decade. 20 to 30, third decade. I'm in my fourth decade now. So I'm feeling the maturation. I'm feeling this next step of my life of really taking all that I've accumulated in my life and sharing it. So if you do have any inquiry in regards to health, wellness, spirituality, I'm your guy. And in regards to financial services, I'm really excited to be bringing that into the forefront of what I do as well. So
I love it. This has been super fun.
Yeah.
I'm super glad. So now I have a segment where if you just want to share a simple health tip or health hack that people could easily implement tomorrow.
Yep. Set your alarm 30 minutes earlier and have an uninterrupted time in nature or in silence where you are not distracted and you are able to either just feel present or feel the presence. And so to me, that is a non-negotiable. Before you're on your phone, before you're checking your emails, before you're doing anything that is a distraction, really, I like to do it in nature. I like to step outside. I'm blessed to have this beautiful garden where I live now in San Diego. I miss y'all Los Angelinos, but San Diego's a special place. Where you are in a state of stillness. And so whether that's meditation, whether that's movement, whether that's cooking breakfast, like do it mindfully and do it in a state of intention so that you can receive. And when you receive, I believe you are given a vision towards what your day has in store, and that can lead towards a much more grounded, present you. And so as you start your day on this foundation of presence, I believe you're given the direction. And like a compass, right? We need to be heading in the direction that is for our best and for the best of our people who depend on us. So if I could give you one recommendation, it would be give yourself, even if it's 5 minutes, 30 minutes is a long time, but I recommend 30 minutes because it's such a great way. If you've read The Artist's Way, it's a great way to give yourself the opportunity to journal. If you can open up, the Bible or a great book, get some wisdom into your mind, get the wheels turning in a way where you feel electric. If you can move your body, working out, doing yoga, climbing, a mountain, getting on the bike, any type of movement, getting that electricity flowing in the body, getting the blood flowing. I believe in fasting in the morning. I think breakfast is one of those things where if you do feel extremely depleted, give yourself some food. But I personally feel so great when I don't eat in the morning. I drink water, and I allow my body to start to kind of create this energy naturally. Prayer, huge part of my daily practice in the morning. And then I have a big whiteboard. But I'll get on the whiteboard, and each day I'll write down what is my top 3 goals today. What is, my schedule look like? And after that 30 minutes of stillness, I'm able to move into 30 minutes of vision and movement. And so it's important to give yourself that opportunity. I think start small, start with 5 minutes, start with 10 minutes, and see how that can compound into something where every day your foundation's set.
No, I love that. When I do notice when I start my mornings in 5, 10, 15 minutes of stillness, just like peace and quiet, the rest of the day is usually peaceful and quiet and not as bad. But when I wake up rushed and I'm running out the door and I don't have time to center myself, then the whole day is like rushed. And
Totally.
the morning sets the tone for the rest of your day.
Yeah.
So
And
I love that.
the reality of things like having a 3-month-old child and having deadlines and all these different things, like you have to be real with yourself as well. So some mornings it's not going to be 30 minutes, but don't let that catastrophize your
even
entire
a minute
day.
is good.
Give yourself the opportunity to, no matter what the outside circumstances create, you will always, it's a non-negotiable, give yourself that moment of peace and clarity so that you can move into your day with this confidence and this magnetism. So that's important. Don't let a cop-out or an excuse prevent you from starting that day right.
Yes. Love it. All right. Now the final segment of the podcast is the joke off.
Yes,
so
sir.
now we each tell a joke, and then when this goes live, let the audience rate it and see who won. So I will let you go first.
Well, as a new dad jokes have become part of my everyday routine.
Yeah.
The duty. So, what does a cow use to do math?
Oh, I don't know.
A calculator.
A calculator. Okay. I like it. I like it. All right. So I'm actually switching my joke because same, but different. We were talking about that. It reminded me of a joke I would tell people when they were in the party plunge.
Let's go.
Because we had little rubber duckies in there. So that reminded me of a joke I would tell people to help ease the struggle. So why do ducks have feathers?
Why?
To cover their butt quack. I love it. The cornier, the better.
Come on. Remember
the more
to take
cringe,
things
the
a
funny.
little less serious. It's important to bring that comedic relief into life, especially nowadays, man. And Lance, I just want to let you know, you are truly one of the most genuine dudes I've ever met. You always have a smile on your face. You're always Lance. So I just want to commend you. I wish the Health and Real Estate podcast nothing but success. It's awesome to see your growth as a man just since meeting you 2 years ago. And like I said in the beginning of the podcast, we share a very similar light. So thank you for shining that light. Thank you for having me on the podcast. And I'm excited to keep growing the brotherhood.
I love it.
Excited to keep collaborating and keep growing together as friends and brothers. So God bless you. And thank you for having me on.
Yes, thank you for being on. I'm super honored. We just flowed.
Yeah.
I loved it. And
awesome.
You inspire me every day. I love everything you do, and you help me shine my light.
Come on.
So let's end it right there. That was a good one.
Boom.